Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Ruvo, and in the early 1990s, my father, Lou Ruvo, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Together, we navigated the difficult journey of diagnosis and limited treatments that were available at the time. It ultimately ended his life and changed mine forever. At the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health in Las Vegas, we are committed to improving the lives of patients and their families as they navigate the extraordinary challenges of brain disorders, which includes Alzheimer's, Huntington's, Parkinson's, as well as frontal dementia and multiple sclerosis. We hear constant reminders in the news about sports-related concussions, yet many questions remain unanswered. What are the cumulative effects of repetitive head injuries? How can we detect the earliest and most subtle signs of brain injury? What factors predispose some people to be more likely to develop chronic neurological disorders? Thanks to the commitment of Golden Boy Promotions, Top Rank, Ultimate Fighting Champion, Viacom's Bellator MMA, and Glory Kickboxing, we hope to answer these questions. The Professional Fighters Brain Health Study is an illustration of what the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health is all about: advancing research and providing answers that will help patients. Our mission goes beyond the treatment of neurological disease. Our goal is true prevention. What we learn through this study will reach beyond professional fighters, help us understand the ramifications of head injuries at all levels and all types of sports, whether it's boxing, football, hockey, figure skating, soccer, and whether it's professionals, amateurs, or the youths. This study would not be possible without one person, and I'm very proud to introduce the president and CEO of the Cleveland Clinic, who's authorized this, supported us so much in Las Vegas, Dr. Toby Cosgrove.
Thank you, Larry. Healthcare has changed remarkably over the last 50 years. We've now seen a 30% reduction in the deaths from heart disease. And people are now living into their 70s and 80s and beyond. The new toll, however, is coming from neurologic disease, degenerative neurologic disease. As Larry said, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are having an enormous effect on society, both in the cost and the social expense that is associated with these dreaded diseases. One of the things that we at the Cleveland Clinic have been very interested in is beginning to understand the causes of these. And one of the places that we see these things arising is in people with repeated head trauma. It's reported that somewhere between 20 and 50% of people who have head trauma will go on to get degenerative neurologic disease. The causes of this and the predictions of this are at this point unknown and unstudied. And we have an opportunity with this study and the support that we've gotten from these organizations to begin to better understand what causes these diseases, how we can prevent them, and how they progress. And hopefully this will have ramifications that go well past boxing and fighting. It goes into all other sports and military and all individuals who are subjected to trauma. So this is a big opportunity. We are very grateful for the attention that has been brought to bear on this and for the support that we have gotten for studying it. My hat's off to these organizations for their candor and beginning to recognize the potential for a problem and beginning to look for an opportunity to reduce the incidence and understand its causes. Thank you.
23,000 open heart surgeries, not including another 10,000 when he was in the MASH unit. Dr. Cosgrove's fame was cardiology, but he wants to be remembered for neurological changes and advances. So we're all very proud of his commitment. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my lifelong friend and our board member at Keep Memory Alive, Ambassador Sig Rogich.
Thank you all. Thank you for what you're doing. As a former chairman of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, I understand how important the study of brain disease as it relates to this sport and other sports is to all Americans and around the world. Today I'd like to introduce a friend of mine from the early 80s that used to come to Las Vegas and go to boxing matches with me. And we became friends throughout the years. And he has a great passion for boxing. Senator John McCain from Arizona.
Well, thank you, Sig, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to join my friend, Senator Harry Reid. He and I have been serving together now for over 30 years, and we've gone a few rounds ourselves from time to time. And I must say that he usually wins, but I keep fighting, don't worry. And I'm very pleased to see this coming together, all these different organizations. It's a rare occasion when Golden Boy Promotions and Top Rank Boxing are in the same room together. So I really congratulate you for that, as well as Ultimate Fighting Championships, Bellator MMA, Gloria Kickboxing. In other words, the most important organizations in the sport of boxing and martial arts are here in behalf of one cause. And I'd also like to acknowledge again these great athletes who are here on behalf of their fellow athletes, including Michael Chandler, Bernard Hopkins, John Jones, and Glover Teixeira. And a word about the executioner. Where is he? Where's the executioner? He's been an inspiration to us who are older as he continues to defy the laws of geriatrics and aging, and an incredible boxer, as well as Michael Chandler and John Jones. I understand, John, where's John? I understand that you'd like to take on Vitaly Klitschko. Is that the case?
Not quite ready.
But anyway, these athletes are here in support of their fellow athletes because they've seen the results of blows to the head. We all know that it is a problem. And we all know that this study that's going to be conducted by one of the premier institutions in America, at Cleveland Clinic, is much needed. Because if we don't do this, then I'm afraid that support for these incredible, entertaining sports will wane on the part of the American people. So this study is much called for, particularly in boxing and MMA. I'm an old friend, I dare to say that, as is Harry, of one of the greatest boxers who ever lived, Muhammad Ali. And I think all of us would agree that his present condition is at least partially, or to some degree, attributable to the sustained blows to the head that this great, wonderful athlete sustained. And his is just one of the stories. And so we owe it to these athletes who put it on the line in the most difficult, in many ways, and challenging of sports. And by the way, before I quit, I just want to ask, I got to throw in a commercial that Harry and I have been trying to get a pardon for Jack Johnson for many years. And I hope we will urge our colleagues and the administration to pardon this incredible heavyweight champion of the world who was the victim of racism. It's just a fact. It's time we cleared up that record. That's the end of that commercial. But I do want to thank my friend Harry Reid for his leadership, and I want to thank all of you for joining together, because it may not have much effect on our present champions who are here with us today, but we owe it to the future of the sport, and we owe it to the future of the men and women who now engage in it. So we're coming together today. I want to thank the Cleveland Clinic, and I want to thank
all who are a part of this effort to make sure that boxing, a very tough sport, is made as safe as possible for those who choose to participate in it. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce my lifelong friend, our senior senator from Nevada, the Majority Leader, Senator Harry Reid.
Sig, thank you very much. All you fighters, understand that we have in the Senate someone who is a proven fighter. I've had the good fortune of serving in the Congress with John McCain since 1982. And I've suffered a few of the blows rendered by him over the years. But you know, we are friends. We have so much respect for each other. It was just a month or two ago, we ran into each other up by the elevators. He said, "I'm going to go to the floor and kick the shit out of you." And I said I wouldn't expect less. and he did. But the reason I mention him specifically, all you tough guys in this room, he's a tough guy. He is truly, in the eyes of the American public, one of our heroes, and he stands for what America's all about. John McCain is a man of courage, and that's an understatement. So John, thanks for being together on all this fighting stuff. We've done a lot of things together. Sig, thank you very much for your introduction. We have been friends for forever, literally. Larry Ruvo came from real humble beginnings. When I was a high school kid, we used to go to the only pizza place in Las Vegas, the pizzeria that was run by his parents. Larry and his family had virtually, they did fine, but nothing to write home about. Larry's been very good. The great entrepreneur that he is, he's made some money. But he's turned that money with his lovely wife, Camille, into doing something really good for Nevada and the country. This Brain Institute is remarkably important to our country. So thank you very much for what you do. The Fertitta family and I have been friends for many, many years. I was chairman of the Nevada Gaming Commission in one of my prior lives, and I had the good fortune of giving him his father, his good father, Lorenzo's good father, a gaming license. And we have bonded and will continue to work on issues together. Mixed martial arts. You know, I've always been a traditionalist. In the ring, but Lorenzo asked me, "Why don't you come to one of our fights?" Okay. And I've been to quite a few of the fights. But the first one I watched was different than the ring that I'd been used to watching. And I was stunned by the audience. So many young people there, so many women there. And after the fight, the press rushes up to me and said, "What did you think?" I said, "You know, I looked at that. I think looked like a fair street fight to me." And that's how I feel about it. You've done a great job of taking this mixed martial arts and with doing some things so it's such a draw now. I have fought in the ring at a really low caliber level, but I've done that. And I've judged hundreds of fights. And I can remember one fight that certainly is worth talking about here, because I had the good fortune to judge a fight with the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh, he looked good. He was still dancing, but he'd fought too long. And he lost to a man by the name of Ferd Hernandez. I judged the fight, and I, with the other judges, gave the decision to Sugar Ray Robinson's opponent. We all know that he wound up really sick. this handsome man who was one of the greatest fighters of all time. Didn't know where he was when he died. He had the 150, 200 fights that he had really taken its toll. For me, being with all these great athletes is really a thrill for me. That was my dream, to be some kind of an athlete. But by the time I was 20 years old, I realized I wasn't good enough, fast enough, or big enough to be the athlete of my dreams. So now I dream dreams of what I wanted to be, and I get a lot of satisfaction just being around you guys and watching what you do. I had the good fortune, because of Bob Arum, in '98 I had a tough election, and he got Oscar de la Hoya, who was so popular at the time, to campaign for me, and he did campaign. This golden boy, he campaigned for me, and he did help me a great deal. So Bernard, I watched your fight with Oscar de la Hoya, and as I think you know, I was pulling for him. And I had watched, as I said, I judged hundreds of fights. I've never seen anything like what you did to him. It was a one punch, and he went down, not to the head. You hit him here, and the fight was over with.
We're friends now.
Yeah, well, I'll be friends with you anytime. But that was the most powerful punch I had ever seen. Now, we all know about the movie The Fighter. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But I had the good fortune of having The Fighter come to my office. I was so excited. In comes Mickey Ward. And he talked to me about his fights and about his brother. Anything different than the movie? He said, well, my brother was crazier than the movie indicated. It was a wonderful movie, and it was very, very factual. But he was there talking to me because he believes that something should be done. Very few people have taken the beatings that Mickey Ward took. He was famous for being able to take a punch. And he has already dedicated his brain, when he passes away, to be studied. And he's concerned, like we're all concerned, about this wonderful opportunity that we have to study what is going on with football, with fighting, all kinds of fighting. And my son, as I mentioned at a meeting we had earlier today, my son was a soccer player. Really played it on 3 national championship teams, University of Virginia. The times he's had a soccer ball hit him in the head on the so-called headers, you couldn't count, just in a practice session. Any practice. Scores of times, hundreds of times. And now they're learning that that ball is really hard, and soccer players have to be careful. So it's good we're studying all this. It's extremely important. As Senator McCain indicated, it's important so that we can not only determine what the long-term effect of these activities are, but also, as Dr. Cosgrove and the team he's put together to study this, also find out if some people should stop doing what they're doing at an early rate. With a little more study, we can determine it's time you stop this. So I'm very happy to be here, taking in all these great athletes I'm able to visit with today and participate in this event, which is really formative as to what needs to be done, studying the brain.
Thank you, Senator. Senator McCain, thank you. Senator Reid. I'd like to introduce now Jeffrey Cummings. He's the medical director for the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health.
Thank you, Sig. Most head injury does not produce brain injury, but some head injuries produce a brain injury that starts a process that ends up in something that looks like Alzheimer's disease. We do not understand which head injuries lead to which brain injuries and result in this chronic disabling process. At the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health in Las Vegas, we're using the most advanced technology, which I hear from Dr. Bernick, such as computerized memory testing and advanced brain imaging, to try to understand this process. We're understanding two basic things. We want to know what is the very first change that occurs, and can we detect that in an athlete so that we could tell that athlete that they're in the beginning of the process? And second, are there predictors? Are there risk factors? Are there vulnerabilities so that we would know which athletes to monitor and which ones are at the greatest risk? So with these two pieces of information, we can empower our athletes. We can give them information that would say, yes, I'm safe, or no, I'm not. That's the kind of information that we have to give to the athletes. And the remarkable thing is that for fiercely competitive organizations, as fierce as their athletes, have come together to support this study. That's the remarkable thing that's occurring here today, that these four organizations have said, yes, we want to empower our athletes with knowledge so that they can make the kind of decisions that is necessary to protect their own futures. From this, as we said, we'll learn about other sports, we'll learn about military injuries, we'll learn about other civilian injuries. The information is immensely valuable. So I thank Larry Ruvo for his leadership and SIG for his, Senator Reid, Senator McCain, thank you so much to the athletes and the promoters who have been so great in this. This is the way forward, and I'm very grateful to you. Thank you.
I'd like to ask Charlie Bernick to come up. He is the principal investigator of the study, and I think he's got a lot of good things to say. Charlie?
Thanks, Sig, and thank you all for being here today. So Dr. Cummings really set the stage of the rationale for this study. That is, we have no ability at this time to tell these great athletes, those that played in the Super Bowl on Sunday, those that are going to represent our country in hockey in the Olympics, really, if they're at risk of having long-term complications of head trauma. And we have no way of even detecting it very early, when interventions may be really the most effective. So to answer those questions, we designed the Professional Fighters Study. And it's intended to follow a large group of fighters, so those are boxers and MMA fighters, over time. And these are both active fighters that are sustaining head blows, so perhaps when changes are starting, and those that are retired, where they're more likely, if they're going to be symptomatic, to show symptoms. So we're following these people along over time. Now, the key to the success of a study like ours really depends on getting these athletes back on a yearly basis and evaluating them with just a whole array of comprehensive tests or measures. So as Dr. Cummings mentioned, we're using MRI scanning, specialized MRI techniques, and even some common MRI techniques. We're measuring blood genetics and markers in the blood. We're looking at speech. We're looking at cognition. We're looking at behavior. So by following these individuals 4, 5, 6 years or more down the line, we hope to be able to really understand, can any of these measures, MRI scanning or other brain imaging, tell us if damage is occurring or predict who's on their way to have problems later on. Because as Dr. Cummings mentioned, not everybody who sustains head trauma is going to have any symptoms. Now, to pull off a study like this, it really required the support of industry, of the fight industry. And we were just so fortunate right from the start to have industry leaders that are here today support the study, encourage their fighters to participate, spread the word, give us advice on how to get fighters to buy into this. And of course, the other thing it requires for a long-term study like this is funding, and with government grants being hard to come by. We're just so thrilled that these organizations really stepped up to make sure we finish our business and sustain the study long enough so we can get the answers that we need. Now, it's interesting, even though we're only about 2.5 years into the study, we've observed some results that I think give us optimism that we're on the right track. So, for example, using specialized MRI techniques, we've found small changes in some boxers even over a year's period, boxers and MMA fighters. So even within a year's period, there may be techniques that are available that can tell if damage is accumulating. In addition, we've come up with a formula or index of exposure to head trauma. So this factors in number of fights, professional fights, and the frequency of fighting to come up with a number. And that number seems to be correlated or related to how somebody performs on cognitive tests. And again, this may be a tool that can be used to identify individuals who may need closer surveillance over time. So I too want to thank the senators, Senator Reid and Senator McCain, our industry partners on this, for all their support. We hope not that the results would just help the safety of fighting, but really will can be applied to all sports, whether it's you're in the octagon or the ring or the football field or the battlefield or the hockey rink. No matter where head trauma occurs, hopefully the results of this will inform us on what we could do to protect individuals. So again, I want to thank you all.
I'd like to ask Todd DeBuff and Mikey Garcia. Mikey's the WBO Junior Lightweight World Champion, and Todd is the CEO and President of Top Rank. Thank you.
Thank you, Sig. First of all, it's actually an honor to be here. It's kind of chilling to be welcomed by two great senators. Obviously, Dr. Cosgrove, Dr. Bernick, Dr. Cummings, for everything you guys have done. You know, Dr. Cummings, you said something very interesting, fierce competitors. I like, just for this today, we're going to call it fiercely collaborative, right? Because that's what this is about. This is fiercely collaborative. Nobody really talked about a story, but I'm going to give you just a brief one to touch on. I was born in Las Vegas, as was Lorenzo, as was Lawrence Epstein. We saw this man have dinner parties and talk about dementia and Alzheimer's. And his father suffered from Alzheimer's. My grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's. Lawrence's grandmother suffered from Alzheimer's. And we were able to see a facility and people support something on a personal level in a community that was so small. A lot of times we never had a voice, or people never thought we had a voice. But Larry Ruvo gave us a voice. And it could not have been possible without him. So when we talk about now on a professional side, for something to happen in my life that professionally was helped and caused and seeded by one man's vision, one man's purpose in Las Vegas, this is special. I heard somebody say, I think it was Senator McCain, talked about Muhammad Ali. People connected with Muhammad because he knew how to be an orator. He could speak, he could connect. You're going to hear from Bernard Hopkins, and God bless you, can this man speak? He can speak like nobody. And this man right here, Mikey Garcia, the current junior lightweight champion of the world, he can speak. And this study is going to help him and Bernard and the next generation so that they connect to all of us for years to come. So thank you all. It's very special to be here. And I'd like to introduce Mikey Garcia.
Thank you, everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here and be part of this wonderful cause. You know, we young fighters, you know, we don't have an opportunity to, you know, be involved too much in what goes behind, but we just go in the ring and do what we do. But to be asked and, you know, be able to help and support this is a great honor. You know, it's not only for myself, but it's, you know, for the benefit of all the young fighters that, you know, want to do this. You know, the young kids that look up to us, you know, and say, I want to be there one day. Well, with our studies and with the research that's going to take forth, we want to help the young kids have a better decision in what they want to do for their careers. And just like they said, for any other of these sports, you know, including soccer and hockey and football or all these other sports with contact sports, you know, the studies definitely need to help, you know, the development of research and, you know, protective gear and just, you know, better inform the people and better inform the kids. And like I said, it's just an honor to be here and an honor to be part of this, and hope, you know, that this research can continue and help, you know, for the long term, for the future, and for, you know, retired fighters of all sports to make better decisions, you know, with their kids or their family members that want to do what they did. So, you know, I just want to say thank you, and, you know, it's a pleasure, and I hope everything that the research takes in, you know, can help for everybody. So thank you.
I'd like to bring up Lorenzo Fertitta, Chairman and CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship. He's with John Jones, light heavyweight champ, and the Glover Teixeira, light heavyweight contender. Camp.
How you doing, Sig? Thank you, Sig. As Todd had mentioned, I was native, born and raised in Las Vegas, and for a boxing fan growing up, that was a fortunate thing. I was able to personally experience what I think is some of the great times in boxing during the 1980s and 1990s. It was in the mid-1990s that I was appointed to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, where I spent 4 years as a member of that commission regulating the sport of boxing. And it was during that time that I spent numerous hours and events really trying to learn as much as I could about the health and safety issues for fighters. And after I stepped off the commission, I was introduced to this event, this renegade event at the time, which was known as the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And what I saw there was not a renegade event, but professional martial arts, professional mixed martial arts. And it was the premise of myself and my brother and our partner Dana White, when we purchased the company, to try to create a global sport that was safe. Therefore, we ran towards regulation. We worked with various state athletic commissions as well as international federations to create what is now known as the Unified Rules of Mixed Martial Arts. So our company has a history of trying to do what we can do to further the sport and further enhance the health and safety for the athletes. I'm also very proud that we're the first, and I believe the only company that provides health accident insurance for our athletes 365 days a year around the world. In the event that, God forbid, they get injured while they're training, they're fully covered by the company. So when I was approached by Larry Ruvo and the members of the Cleveland Clinic, it was a very easy decision to say that we were all in respects to having our athletes participate in studies, as well as monetary funding that they would need to be able to carry out these studies. We obviously think it's very important to try to learn as much as we possibly can about the effects for these athletes, both today and then in their future. Along with me here, I have our UFC light heavyweight champion, John Jones, as well as our #1 contender in the light heavyweight division, Glover Teixeira. And I'd ask for them just to say a few words. I would like to thank Senator Reid, Senator McCain, Larry, Ruvo, and everyone at the Cleveland Clinic. We think this is a great initiative, and there will be many benefits to come from this. Jonathan.
How's it going, guys? I am not the best at speeches, but I just want to thank everyone, mainly congratulate the Cleveland Clinic for all their success and what you guys are doing. I want to thank Senator McCain and Senator Reid for supporting us MMA fighters and just getting along with this whole MMA phenomenon. You know, Cleveland Clinic, you guys really are saving lives and you guys are changing the future. And I think it's so important. It's a magnificent thing. So hats off to you guys, and thanks for allowing us to be a part of it.
Good morning, guys. Just want to thank everyone for this help, for this opportunity. UFC to bring us over here. And just want to do everything I can to help you guys, to spread the word out there, because us as a fighter, I think we follow up with the medicals. We do MRI all the time. Thanks for, once again, for UFC to give us the health insurance so we can do that all the time. But millions of people over there that do sparring in the gym every day, and they don't fight and they not follow up with medicals. So maybe this will help as well. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up Kevin Kay, president of Spike TV and Bellator, and Michael Chandler, former Bellator light heavyweight champion. Where is he? There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. First, thank you to the Cleveland Clinic for all the great work that you're doing. Thank you to Senator McCain and Senator Reid. It's an honor to share the podium with you and to have you endorse this really important initiative. If organizations that are as fiercely competitive as Viacom and the UFC are, and in the boxing world, Top Rank and Golden Boy can come together today, I think there's still hope for North and South Korea. Maybe even Democrats and Republicans. I also have a really exciting announcement. Viacom's mixed martial arts promotion, Bellator, has signed Congressman Michael Grimm to fight for the heavyweight championship. Seriously though, combat sports has been a big part of Spike TV since our launch in 2003. As the current home of the Mixed Martial Arts League Bellator and the kickboxing franchise Glory, we showcase many of the world's most dynamic and gifted athletes, like this gentleman right here, Michael Chandler, our former lightweight champion, who looks to reclaim his championship this spring. Look how pretty Mike is. He's also incredibly articulate, and we want to keep him that way. These fighters give everything they have in the ring or in the cage. And we at Spike TV and Viacom Media Networks understand the need to do whatever we can when it comes to securing their health and their well-being. It's imperative that we do all we can to prevent any injuries from being permanent. Both of our combat sports franchises deliver great entertainment for the fans, but it can't be at the expense of the long-term health of our athletes, because without the fighters, there's no promotions. We applaud the efforts of the Cleveland Clinic, who are at the forefront in establishing the best possible treatment for brain trauma. And on behalf of myself, everyone at Bellator MMA, Glory Kickboxing, Viacom, and Spike, we're proud to be a part of such a worthy endeavor. And Michael, I think, wants to say a couple of words.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. You know, as fighters, you know, personally myself, I believe I'm in this sport for a reason. I believe I was called to this sport. So I don't really think about consequences as much. So it's great. It's great to have people behind us, people who are working behind the scenes, doing studies, hours and hours, like the Cleveland Clinic. So we thank you guys, because we have to get out of our own way sometimes. So we appreciate that there are people working behind the scenes for us, for our well-being, thinking about us and our futures. Because at the end of the day, I'm excited to become the best lightweight in the world, but I'm also excited to be able to play football in the front yard with my children someday. So, and that to me is more important than any gold you can put around my waist or any amount of money I can make. So I thank everybody for being here. As Kevin touched on, as everybody's touched on, if we can have the fierce competitors in the MMA and boxing world, if we have John Jones and Glover Teixeira, who are about to step into the cage against each other, come together today as from man to man and really support this cause. We're just really excited for everyone to be here. So thank you, Senator McCain, Senator Reid, for having us, and we look forward to this future of this study. Thank you.
I'd like to now bring up this 49-year-old man and a 25-year-old body, Bernard Hopkins. Look at him. Thanks, champ.
First, I'd like to thank Senator McCain and also Senator Reid and all the doctors and everyone that's participating in this study. You got free health insurance on that MMA? I might have to talk to you then. I might announce my retirement today and come over there. But that's great. That's great. And you know what I believe. First of all, I reflected when I was sitting down, I listened to Senator McCain, and I remember over 15 plus years ago, he was also putting a bill together, and need testimony on a bill called the Muhammad Ali Act. And I remember in the 90s where I was asked to come down. I broke camp to come down and speak about something I believe, and I still do, even more, that I had to speak up and be a part of. And I was the middleweight champion at the time. Fast forward to now, and I see myself here with the senator speaking about another chapter, another important thing in boxing. And it's amazing that I stood around this long, active, and to be able to still give my opinion and my thoughts and my credibility to something I feel so strong about. I have nephews that want to be boxers because of their uncle. I can try to persuade them, I can try to tell them no, but eventually they get older, they make their decisions, and you want them to do that. And I want to be sitting in my younger old days saying that I've played a part, along with everybody here, to be able to give the future, as Senator McCain said earlier. If it don't take care of the guys that's here now, because we are here, but we can start getting the ball rolling on something that's so important for the future. When you talk about health, when you're talking about the rest of the quality of life once we do retire, you want to be able to do those things, as Champion said earlier, playing with your kids, having a productive, as much as you can, life. Yes, we chose and signed up for this, but it's also your entertainment. We sort of have a deal without having a deal. And we just need the good doctors, the good people, the support to be able to back it and go for the long haul, not the sprint race, but the marathon race. It's a longer time, it's more miles, and it's completely focused on making all the studies, all the tests be completed to be able to give us a heads up on what we're facing now or later. So this is something real passionate to me because I've done this for over 20-something years as a professional since 1988. But as an amateur, since I was 8, 9 years old, history of family on mother and father's side that boxed in the 60s in Philadelphia. And as I trained still in Philadelphia, and I see the past of the fighters that fought way before me, and they're not in good shape, y'all. And a lot of them don't have help, and they didn't have the things that the fighters have an opportunity now and in the future. So I'm glad to be part of history. I look at this as really being part of history. And I look at this as winning like a fighter. Everything I put as an agenda to achieve is not something that is just something to say and just the right time to do or popular to mention. So I'm very passionate about this, and I hope that the boss upstairs will continue to keep my demeanor, my articulate speech, and all the things that's always jeopardized because of what I've done and been doing for so long. So why I got the voice and why I believe I got the knowledge of knowing how important it is, because I'm in the ring. And I see the guys training before a fight. And I believe Reid or Senator McCain mentioned this, it's the training. Yes, it's the final icing on the cake when the event happens. But it's the training, the 9 weeks, the 8 weeks, the sparring with 2 or 3 guys, and the pounding from day in and day out. That's where the damage starts. The damage starts not actually at the fight. It's accumulation in the gym. So I'm glad that everyone here is motivated like an athlete to understand that we're going to train to get to where we got to go. You got 2 of the biggest promoters in boxing. I'm going to say Golden Boy first and Top Rank second, no pun intended, is teaming up together as we are here today. We are one on this. competitive is always, to me, it's a good thing. To bring everybody's game up to a level where it need to be. But this is something that's, we all agree on this. Top Rank, Golden Boy, and everybody else here that's involved, that we want to have boxing respected. We want to have boxing around for a long time. Thank you for being patient, and hopefully we can get this done.
Thank all of you for being here. Of course, we didn't have questions for any of these gentlemen, so I'll leave it open at that. Other than Senator Reid. If you have any questions, please.
Federal role in this study, is there any federal money involved? What's the federal language? Because you're all here in Washington, senators. Are you getting any money from the feds for it?
Well, I think that should be addressed to Bernie or Jeff.
Well, we have. As you might imagine, because this is such a hot topic in the field of medicine these days, we have secured a grant from the Department of Defense for another type of imaging technique that's going to be done within this study. And I think the NIH and other agencies certainly do support these type of projects such as ours.
Can you speak to the total financial contribution that the parties here have made? What is the study costing? What are they contributing from a resources standpoint? I know the fighters as well, but I mean monetarily.
Do you want
To begin with, the largest contributor is the Cleveland Clinic. The study in the aggregate of the group today started at $600,000 from the people in the room. It'll go beyond that, but already Cleveland Clinic has contributed in time, imaging, resources close to $2 million.
Could I just mention in response to the first question, there are numerous Department of Defense studies going on because of the effects of the IEDs and the concussions and head injuries that our men and women have sustained in Iraq and Afghanistan. And what our goal would be is to try to join the Cleveland Clinic studies with other studies that are going on concerning head injuries and brain injuries that we are devoting significant amount of federal money to be involved in. And frankly, there's no organization that's better qualified to do this than the Cleveland Clinic.
Thank you.
For Senator McCain, if you, and I wish Senator Reid was still here, but if you guys had been able to box back in the day, who do you think would have won?
You know, I have found that Senator Reid is a very resourceful fighter. So I'm not sure of the outcome, but it sure would have been a lot of fun.
Dr. Bernier, we've been covering this study for the past few years. It's very exciting to see the support here today. Can you give us an idea of how many fighters are now participating and the breakdown between active and retired?
Charlie?
Yes, Ron. So currently we have about a little over 400 fighters in the study. Actually, a higher percentage of mixed martial arts fighters that are in the study. And among those 400, there's probably about 25 that are retired, and the rest of them are active. We also have a control group that is individuals who are the same age, same type of education, but who have never been exposed to head trauma to use as a comparison group. We're hoping to enroll close to 650, 625 to 650 by the end of the study.
Yes?
I have a question for Senator McCain.
Senator?
Senator McCain, you and Senator Reid have passed bills having to do with boxing, health, and safety.
Yes, we have. We're very proud, as Bernard mentioned, he and others were very helpful in passing the Muhammad Ali Act, which had a lot to do with health and safety of the fighters. But I also have to tell you, we didn't do all of the things that I wanted to do.
I was going to ask, do you think with extreme fighting might benefit from a sort of federal legislation?
I do, but you want to be very careful not to encroach on the state's abilities to do this regulation. I think Sig and Harry, if he were here, would allege that the Nevada Boxing Commission is probably the premier organization with the best standards and the best kinds of regulation of boxing, which if we went national, I'm not sure they would be as high as that. You know, it was Damon Runyon that said boxing is a sweet science of sport. It was Grantland Rice said boxing was a sweet science of sport, and Damon Runyon said it was the red light district of sport. And we've seen both. Yeah. And I think the Nevada Boxing Commission is the best example, and I'm not sure we would force every state to do exactly the same thing.
Anyone else?
A question for actually all of the promoters that are here. I'm wondering what sort of response you've gotten to this point from fighters that you've reached out to, whether they're interested by and large in contributing to the study, or whether some of them feel this is something they don't really want to know because it's something that gives them apprehension.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, thank you. You know, as we have communicated to our athletes the importance of this study and what it means for both themselves and for future fighters, everyone has been very willing to partake in it. But part of that also is because the Cleveland Clinic has made it extremely easy for them to participate. So whenever we do a big event in Las Vegas, the Cleveland Clinic is open 24 hours a day. They welcome our fighters in, whether it's during the week of the fight to get tests and then immediately after the fight to get tests. So it's a collaborative effort of, yes, the fighters obviously want to participate. They know that this is a great thing, but it's also, you know, working together as a promoter and the Cleveland Clinic to make it easy for them to be part of the process.
Thank you.
I would echo on behalf of Top Rank, and what we've done is, you know, it's that baseline, it's that beginning. So when we're signing the young athletes, we've had early on some of the young kids, the amateurs that are just coming out or coming pro. That's when they want those imaging, and we've promoted the fact that, hey, listen, we get this study going on, and it's 5 miles from my office. You just signed a big contract. Let's go down there. So that's what we're trying to do, is get it from the beginning, because I think that's really what the doctors have said, is we want the study of the imaging early on. So that's really what we've been promoting, and it's been well embraced by a lot of our athletes.
Okay, one more question here. Excuse me. Bernard?
Yeah, I want to say something on behalf of Golden Boy. You know, it's good that, you know, Top Rank and Golden Boy and other promoters. I mean, we're not the only promoters in boxing, obviously, you know that. And so I think once, you know, it really gets out there and it continue to be out there, is that other promoters, other advisors, or whatever title they wear, that's part of a boxer's life, should contribute or at least be on board to understand that, you know, you have an investment in this too, because you have fighters, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8. But I think as a boxing family, wherever hat you wear or title, should collaborate on making this thing happen. Thank you. Thank you.
Keep in mind in closing here, I'll have one more question after, that this transcends boxing. It goes into all sports. Yes. And I'm proud of what Nevada's done through the years. Senator, thank you for the acknowledgement. I mean, I remember the 15 rounds that went to 12, essentially because Nevada took the lead in making that happen, as well as so many other things. So any other questions?
Yeah, to what extent does this overlap with, if you know, with any studies the NFL is doing concurrently in-house? Are they different, similar? Where do they overlap? Where do they go?
Bernie?
Well, as you know, there's a lot of studies going on, including NFL players. One that's I know of at Boston University is looking at retired football players, and again doing this very comprehensive evaluation over time. I think where we're a little different in is that we're starting really from when athletes are active, when they're actively participating in their sport, and following them along from that point over many years, which just has not been done.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Very good for you.